Welcome on into today's video where we are talking a beginner's guide to LuxAlgo. We're looking at LuxAlgo's website right now, and I want to cover a couple of things before we dive into the features and how we can use them, and some examples, how we can customize them, edits, and some things that I personally like to use. Again, it'll come down to your personal preference, but I want to kind of at least set the stage so you have something to kind of work off of. If you are new to LuxAlgo, thinking about LuxAlgo, or curious about, what value it could potentially add to your trading or investing for that matter. So first things first, if you are into technical analysis, you probably know what an indicator is, right? And LuxAlgo kind of takes that to the next level with custom indicators, custom scripts, etc., that allow you to look at markets and price action in a different way, and allows you to potentially cater that to your own investing or trading strategies. The best part about it, in my opinion, is that because it's so fully customizable, you don't really have to worry about oversaturation. So that's one of the biggest negatives I think people will experience, is that, there'll be a strategy, or there'll be this style of trading or this style of that, and you'll do it, or you'll try it, and all of a sudden everyone's doing it. And next thing you know, if everyone is buying the breakout, if everyone's buying this, and everyone can't make money, this is the stock market, right? So LuxAlgo is doing a great job, in my opinion, of allowing you access to a lot of different indicators, allowing you the full customization of those to cater it to how you see the markets and how you want to use them. Okay, so hopefully that kind of makes some sense. And at the end of the day, I think we all get to a point where we start to realize that there's more to trading and investing than copying someone or following just one indicator, right? It's creating your own systematic approach and strategy, and using indicators could be a part of that. Not for everyone, but it could be part of that. Now, apparently there's over 50,000 traders who use LuxAlgo, and so this is probably, when it comes to the space, this is probably one of the top names of indicators, or those who provide indicators in the trading community and the trading space. So let's dive deeper into what they've got, what they're all about. Now, there's 3 different plans as of filming this video. This is actually recently changed. This may change again in the future, and I'll talk more about the details of those plans, and then we'll kind of go one by one into them. And at the end, stick around for the end where we'll kind of lay it all out and all that stuff. I'll lay it all out. We'll compare the plans and all that stuff and prices and whatever. So you can see that and have all that information in front of you. If you want to skip to that, skip towards the end. And we cover that. And so the bottom of our screen, we see the first plan is the Essential, then there's a Premium, and then there's the Ultimate. Now, this is a beginner's video, so I'm not necessarily catering this video to someone who is super duper advanced and needs the top tier and wants like the most deep dive detailed explanation of the ultimate plan. Okay, that's also gonna be the most expensive plan, and so most people probably don't need to start there if they're watching this video. So we can cover that in a future video, so leave a comment below if you want me to cover that in more depth, because there's actually some really pretty cool new features that they've added to the Ultimate. But we're going to start with the Essential plan. The Essential plan gets you Price Action Concepts Toolkit, community access with price action alerts, user strategies and setups, and 24/7 support and active indicator updates. So before we dive into the charts on TradingView, if you're not aware, they have a very nice detailed library talking about or explaining a lot of things. And if you were to go to the bottom of these pages or of their website, and when you do sign up for a plan, what you'll have is access to the Discords. This is going super, super deep, but they've got a Discord community with multiple different channels. And again, price action alerts is part of that in the Essential plan. So there's a lot of education behind LuxAlgo, and they do a really good job of explaining things so you really know what you're getting into, and then how do you use these different indicators and these different things, because these are really cool, but how you use them is ultimately the name of the game. If you don't know how to use them, then it doesn't really matter. And so that's what it's all about. And I'm happy that they do that, because that's a pretty big component to a product like this. So what you'll do is if you sign up, it's 30 days risk-free as well. So you have 30 days to kind of like test it out. If you don't like it, then you can just literally just be like, hey, I don't like it, money back, blah, 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 which is nice from LuxAlgo's perspective. And I'm by no means like working for LuxAlgo. Like, this is a piece of my own trading that I have used and I tend to use. So I want to talk about it. And as someone who may be a beginner, like I figured this would be a good video to dive into it, like from someone who actually uses it, doesn't have necessarily a vesting interest in like everyone sign up for LuxAlgo. Like, is it worth it for you? Like, that's what we're going to kind of get to in this video. So the essential is price action concepts toolkit. So what you'll do is once you sign up, you should be able to go and log into TradingView. Now you'll have to have a TradingView account as well to be able to utilize this. You don't need to have a paid account. We've actually recently posted a video covering a beginner's guide to TradingView as well. So if you're confused there or have questions there, that's a good video to check back in or to check out. But I got Bitcoin pulled up here in the charts, and we'll kind of use that as an example, but we can use really whatever you want. Doesn't really matter. You can pull up any chart on TradingView and then you add these indicators up and you're good to go. So essential is like their cheapest or their most entry-level option. And this one gets you into the price action concepts toolkit. So if I go on the left-hand side, you'll see there's a price action concepts. I'm going to actually turn that guy on with the little eye symbol. This is signals and overlays, and there's one more that you don't have access to if you are using or if you're on the essential plan. So they'll hook you up once you have, I think you have to send in your TradingView username, whatever. Once you do that, they'll literally approve you. And if it doesn't happen, within a couple hours, you message them and they'll take care of it and make sure you're all good to go. But you'll go to the indicator section up on the top of TradingView, and then you should go to where it says invite only scripts. And this is where you'll have access to those scripts. Okay. So you'll have the price action concepts script right here. Now this, once I have started to put it to my favorites so I can easily access it. But once I click on it, I'm going to now see it on the screen. So I haven't done anything here. This is just kind of like bare bones, like price action concepts. So what I'm going to go up and do is now drop down the menu where we have price action concepts. I'm going to go to where it says settings. And now we've got some more interesting components to this. This is where we can kind of customize things. And so this is kind of what it's all about. So we can take this off of certain intervals. I have the premium version of TradingView, which allows me to see second-based intervals, although I never use that. It's kind of fun, but I would never use that. So I'm going to uncheck that box. And then from there, that's fine. I want to have it on the 1 minute chart and up, 1 hour, all the way through monthly charts. So I'm good to go. This is just kind of your time frame. Like right now, we're looking at a daily chart. So each of the candlesticks is 1 day. That's just the time frame that we're using. Back to this gear icon in the top left. This is also default. So if I click on this, I could save my own settings or reset back to default. So you always have that option to do that if you would like to. I would encourage you to save it as your own default once you figure out what you like. Okay, because then you can always just revert and reset the settings if you wanted to. Style, we'll go to input. So visibility is what it comes up as first, but inputs is where it's all about. So this is huge. I mean, like look inside of this. For the essential plan, there's already a lot here. But what I think is, again, like we're getting back to that importance of the customizations. I mean, you can literally come in here and change so many different things. So some person's view of LuxAlgo, the same indicator, could be completely different versus yours. You know what I'm saying? Because of what they've customized inside of how they use it and the time frames that they use it on, for example. So we've got market structure, and on the right-hand side, there's this little eye icon. If you hover over that, it will give you some more information about maybe how you can customize it, what it might mean, and whatnot. So for example, this one says for the internal market structure section, or for the internal market structure, I guess, indicator piece. We have all, and then we have more options underneath, and then we have an option to put as a number. But if I click on the eye icon, the drop down, type of internal structure to display, so I'm displaying all, and then the length, the look back period used to detect swing points for the construction of internal market structures. Okay, oops, back to that gear icon. So that's what it really is. If I don't want to look at all, I can pick whatever I want to pick. I'm going to pick none for now because that's not something that I personally use a ton of my trading, and now it cleans up some of the chart. So this is, again, going back through this, LuxAlgo has information on all of these indicators and a lot of how you can customize them and what all this stuff means. So I'll talk about some of the things that I like to use, my favorite parts. But again, there's just literally, there's almost unlimited stuff you can do here. And so it really comes down to like, oh, is that a piece, that you want to add in to your trading, right? In this swing section right here, we have as well. I personally Not a big fan of that, so I don't really use it. We've got time frames. We can change that as well. Color candles. They'll color them in their own way. Personally, I don't like to do that. I like to leave it the way I have it here on TradingView. Show strong and weak, high, low. I actually kind of like that. It's an interesting component, but it will show you where we have weak lows and strong highs, or where the algorithm is detecting that. So what they're showing right now on Bitcoin is a strong high here, 68%, and a weak low, 32%. So what that means, what that potentially could mean, is pretty self-explanatory. This area is a strong resistance right now on Bitcoin, whereas this area doesn't seem to be as strong of a support, okay? Don't necessarily ask me how that's calculated. I don't necessarily know, but there's an algorithm that's behind that, that's calculating that, and I'm sure you can look deeper into LuxAlgo to find out. I'm going to get rid of this MTF structure scanner personally, not something that I need or really care for. Volumetric order blocks, maybe you want to have that. If I get rid of those and it shows the last 5, if I get rid of those, a lot of these are popped out of the way. So the order blocks could be interesting, and I'll pop them in here so you can kind of see, but I personally don't really love or really care for that. Internal buy sell activity, this is not something that I really need in a Bitcoin chart. Show breakers, etc. We can go down further. Metrics, midline, overlaps, whatever. Liquidity concepts, trend lines, patterns. This is where I start to get a little more interested personally. Maybe you won't. Maybe you find this not interesting. Maybe this is not something that fits your strategy. So we got trend lines here. I can select that. Patterns here, equal, high, low. Let's just pull up all these. Liquidity grabs and all that stuff. Let's pop out of here. I'll click OK for now. And so here's what you can see. Now we have some new stuff on the chart. You got some trend lines drawn in just automatically. Now, some of these are very steep. Some of these were respected. Some were not. Again, this is kind of the nature of trading, right? Not everything is going to work, right, every single time. But what's interesting to note is that like this trend line, this downtrend break signaled a really nice move in Bitcoin. And then we had this little uptrend that broke, and then it's kind of getting a little wonky. I think a lot of it comes down to as well, you know, personally, there's a bit of subjective nature to it. Like you can kind of have them do this for you. Maybe you don't. Maybe there'll be some that you don't notice. Some things that you don't notice, and some that you do, and you're like, oh, that one I'm not going to care for. This one I'm not. Oh wait, I didn't realize that. Oh wow, and then maybe this is the one that you really liked, and then you played the break to the upside and had a nice move. So it really comes down to kind of what you're looking for, what you like at the end of the day. And so that's one example of using some price action, or adding more price action concepts there. Diving deeper, we have got patterns. We talked about trend. If I get rid of patterns, we just go back to trend lines. Give it a second to load up. So we'll get rid of some of these patterns and wedges and whatnot. Equal, high, low. I have it set to short term. I don't really use those too much. And then liquidity grabs, I'll pop up on the chart there. So we have those. But you can kind of see that. And liquidity grabs, by the way, they're very tough to see. They're right here. This little blue box on that little lower wick, this little red box on the upper wick, like right here, and then again you can change the colors to that. So that's an example of liquidity grab on the chart. So you can pop in here. So here's what I have. You go to the eye symbol, we can change these colors. So to the blue, to the red if you wanted to. Maybe you can't really see them as well based on your candlestick colors, so you can change them. Okay, imbalance concepts. For me, I'm going to go with that checked, and let's see if it pops anything up. So it will display imbalances on the chart. Let's see if it got anything. Let's see. Okay, there we go. So now we have some imbalances popping up on the right-hand side, I got the right-hand side, to the right of the candlesticks, but of course that depends upon where we are on the chart. Click on OK here. So here's that. These boxes right here, imbalances. A lot of green here, a lot of green, as we can see. On that. If we zoom out further, let's see if we can get examples. Yeah, you got a lot of red on the way down. A lot of red on the way down. So kind of helpful. Something that I personally haven't really used too much, but you can add it to your charts if you wanted to. And then you have options to change different mitigation methods, time frames, extend the box, volatility thresholds inside of those imbalances. Again, another way to customize those imbalances so you might look at it completely different to someone else. Premium/discount zones. Let's check out what that looks like. Pop that up on the chart. Give it a second. Here we go. So what it's showing you right now is based off of recent price action on Bitcoin, we have premium up here. So you're paying a premium. Here's a discount. And then here's like right in the middle, equilibrium. Now, Again, that can change over time, but you can see that we're very, very extended up into premium. So you're paying, like right now, all that to me, kind of interpretation wise, is like, hey, like this is hot. Like obviously we can break out and keep going, but you are not getting a deal, if you will, relatively speaking. So that's an interesting feature to add in there. We can have daily highs and lows hit. Let's pull that up for a second. And it shows you highs and lows right now, really on today, which I can get rid of that. Mondays, I can change that if I wanted to. Weeklies, monthly, quarterly, different time frames. General styles. This is kind of internally labeling things. I can make them small, big, or let's make them normal if I wanted to. And it'll increase the size of labels and whatnot, which doesn't seem to be a big deal for me. But if you're looking at things and you're like, hey, I can't see stuff, maybe that's something that's a good idea to change for you. This is where we get down to some alerts. So you can have a bullish order block, bearish order block, or bullish imbalance, bearish imbalance, etc., and have these alert you. Liquidity concepts alert, up trend line break, down trend line break, detected pattern. Like these are things that I might want to add to my chart so that I can be alerted of certain things that are popping off or that are happening on a given stock. This way I can see, or I guess a different given chart. This way I can kind of check in or look away and then come back and check back in. Bullish grab, bearish grab, and there's more custom alerts that you can create inside of here. Again, it goes deeper and deeper and deeper. Change the sessions, all of that stuff. So you can see how in the weeds you can get and how detailed this does get. Highlight on chart, etc. Trigger as an alert function. This is something I think that will go through TradingView. So I can trigger that if I wanted to and highlight it on the chart and have it set. So that, in a nutshell, is what price action concepts is. It's a lot. If I go to style, I can change colors, bar colors, and stuff like that if I wanted to. For me, I'm going to leave it alone for now, but you have options to change things and customize a little bit further, and then that's back to visibility. So getting back into it, there you guys have it. So in a nutshell, like for me, I tend to use, when it comes to price action concepts, some of these. I have personally found that the signals and overlays is more interesting to me and my style of trading. But there's still some good stuff in here, and you may very well find that these are useful. So that's that. Now, in the premium version of LuxAlgo, let's dive into this. This is the next two indicators. There's a lot here. So you get all of what you got in Essential, plus Signals and Overlays Toolkit, the Oscillator Matrix Toolkit, Community Access with Scanners and Bots, okay? That's what you get on top. So then if I jump in, I'm going to hide the price action concepts. And I'm going to go to Signals and Overlays. Boom. You're like, whoa, here we go. Now this might get you going because you're like, wait a second, I'm seeing potential buy sell alerts. Like this is probably going to get people's eyes and their hearts racing a bit more. Because, at the end of the day, what do we all want? We all want someone to tell us to buy or sell and then just do it and make money. But again, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. I wish it was, but it's not that easy. So again, visibility, kind of the same exact thing. Style, we'll get to that next. Here we go. So I'm going to talk about what I like personally here. Again, there's a lot more you can dive into, but I'm going to go with what I like. So basic settings, preset filters. There's filters in here that you can have that are kind of like presets that you can look into on the site and through their details and learn more about. To be honest with you, I kind of like the contrarian aspect for more of an investing style. So if you're more of a contrarian, what does that tell you? Well, this could be telling you that, hey, right now on Bitcoin, like you don't want to be buying it. You might want to actually be looking to sell or go short. And that's what that's telling you. So these are interesting presets, but again, you probably would want to customize them or dive deeper. But it could be a good place to start or an interesting place to start. Okay. Signal mode confirmation and exits, or we can have contrarian plus exits. Let's change that to contrarian. And now you can see that it's essentially looking to be buying dips, selling rips, if you will. And that's what that's doing. So I'm going to go to none for now so we don't see those signals. But those are the signals that you can have those green dots and red dots and whatnot. AI signal classifier. I haven't really used this very much at all, but it's there. Signal sensitivity, we can change the sensitivity on this. So if you're more of a swing trader, you can change that to be a little more, higher values are longer term trends and lower values lower. So let's just go back and let's go with the the scalper, okay? If I click on the presets for scalper, okay, you're like, whoa, we got a lot going on here. Well, if I change this to 30, right? Give it a second to load up. You got less signals. If I change this to 10, you're going to have more signals. So it really depends upon what it's something to back test or to trial out yourself. For me, I think somewhere in like the 20-ish range kind of makes more sense. And I'm much more of a contrarian when it comes to investing. So if I'm looking at the S&P 500, I kind of like looking at the contrarian. Let's pull the S&P up on this because why not? Let's go to SPX. And let's do the same, overlay the same exact stuff. So if you're looking at this a lot, I mean, it's just a lot pops up. We still have, there's some things that are in here that I can get rid of for now, so it's not as jumbled. And it's a little bit easier. Okay, here we go. So now you got essentially the contrarian signals on the chart. And would it have worked very well? Let's see, you know, I mean, what it would be telling you to be buying here and then selling here and selling here. And it seems to be that this is, you know, it's just buying dips, selling rips, while the S&P, you know, oscillates up and down. So it's kind of doing its own thing. Okay, let's get rid of that for now, as you can kind of see that there's, you know, ways to change that and to customize that. Okay, candle coloring, I'm going to go into none because I don't like how they color the candles. I want to leave them the same way that I have them on TradingView. That's just my personal preference. Adjust that for a second. Let's bring this back over here. This on the right hand side, that's my volume profile. That's not associated with LuxAlgo. That's just my volume profile indicator that I have got. So some of the ones that I like is a reversal zone indicator. This one's interesting. That's like this big thing that you can kind of like, some people will call it a cloud. You know, this is kind of cool to show you what we get over. It's like almost like looking at the RSI, but like saying like, hey, like this is a reversal zone. You know what I mean? I don't use it too much, but it could be useful. I can see the value in that. I would like to use the Smart Trail and the Trend Tracer. So actually, let's go one at a time. So Smart Trail is this. It's kind of like almost, you know, like that, like a moving average, a version of a moving average. And this, when we're trending up, we've got blue underneath. When we're trending down, red. And what I've noticed is like, hey, if we break back up into or above, you know, the red or below the blue, that's when we have more of a reversal opportunity. And it's using this to me is more of like a stop loss almost. So it's something to think about. That's something that's interesting to me. So then there's the Trend Tracer. Let's get rid of Smart Trail and go to Trend Tracer. Here's what I like to look at. And I've used this in the past on like a Bitcoin strategy where when we have green, when we're in the green essentially, which is the uptrend, and we break below that on a daily or a weekly candle, and we close below that, then it's your indication to go short. And then your stop loss is if we break back above, or your stop loss could be the Smart Trail if you wanted to. Something like that is interesting. So let's go to Trend Catcher. Trend Catcher. It just keeps getting better and better. This is kind of showing you, this is kind of almost more of like a higher, faster paced kind of like entry exit type of thing. So if you look back at the recent moves on this just by itself with no customizations, if you went long once this went green, which would have been right here, and then went short once it went red, you would have made a few bucks, maybe even break even there. Not a big deal. And then if you shorted here, right? Like let's say you had on the S&P, just call it 1 unit. Let's say, you know, so you buy 1 unit, or it's SPY. You know, you just have 1 share of SPY. You know, you go long here, you get out here, or go short. You reverse your position there. So you just kind of play this game of like you're just reversing your position from long to short to long to short, and you just keep playing that game. And in this case, like this short would have worked nice because you would then have, okay, you've gotten stopped out here, which you would have been entered here, bought back here. It's a good profit there. And what looks like now on SPY is that, or the S&P, I should say, is that you've gotten long here and you're still long. We'll see how it goes, but it seems to be working kind of well. So I like this indicator. I really do. So I like having this one popped up sometimes just to kind of follow along if you're playing momentum. It's definitely more of a momentum indicator for sure. That could kind of catch me and be like, hey, you know, we've been trending up. Let's just make sure we look for longs here. It's not really a time to look for shorts. So I haven't really tried NeoCloud too much. Not something that I found to be super helpful, but maybe it is for you. Personally, for me, not necessarily something that aligns very, very well with my trading, but maybe it does for you. Advanced settings right here. Again, that's kind of getting into the weeds and getting deeper. You can look into on LuxAlgo and look more into this and figure out if you want to change these things. For me, not a big deal. Alert functions, you have that as well. Custom alert creative, kind of similar to what we had in the last indicator. And that's the deal there. Style, we can change all of these things on the different indicators, the colors and whatever. So in the trend catcher, which we currently have, I can, like, these colors are fine, but if I want to change them, I can. Okay, or I can change them to, let's say, circles. Or let's say I want to go with a line with breaks. You know, I don't know. It's up to you as to how you want to play or how you want to use them. The line seems fine to me. So that's that. And again, we can save them as default or reset settings if I wanted to. Save it. You can save that as you need as your own default. Okay, now that's that piece. The next piece, I'm going to get rid of this. Actually, we can leave it up, is the oscillator matrix. Pop this guy up. This comes up at the bottom of our screen. So there'll be this little icon here. We can go to the gear icon and get rid of it with the X button, or view it or hide it with the I button. I'm going to click on these two arrows right here to restore the pane. Now we've got it right here. Okay, cool. So it's already got some stuff on here, which we may or may not want. And I'm going to go into the settings. This has same thing, visibilities, style section, and inputs. This, think of this as like, if you guys are familiar with an RSI or stochastic, MACD, this is kind of where you'd be viewing those indicators towards the bottom of your screen. It's kind of like, it's not like that because obviously this is more detailed, but it's kind of like almost, think of an oscillator as doing something along those lines. It's going to oscillate up and down, and then depending upon that and price action, you may make decisions. So I'm going to get rid of some of these so we can look at this a little bit differently. Upper and lower confluence, I can get rid of that. I'm also going to bring us, I believe, into better view here with this indicator. So let me just make sure we can do that. Why is it doing this? Okay, bring this into view. There we go. Let's just adjust. Let's adjust, and there we go. Okay, cool. Maybe there's things in here that we want to keep. Maybe there's not. I'm going to go to the settings gear icon again. Smart money flow. This is something that we might want to use. It's pretty cool, actually. Higher values. Let's go to like 55 here. That's going to be looking at more of a bigger picture, which it may not be super easy to see because there is a lot of stuff on there, but lower values are going to be boom, boom, boom. You're going to see more oscillations up and down. Okay, let me get rid of upper and lower confluence for a second, which are those bars in the top and bottom of the screen. If I'm going to show divergences, let's get rid of that for a second as well. I like that. Actually, that's a really good piece to this. But just so we can kind of have, this cleaned up a little bit. If I go to style, here's where I can kind of get rid of certain things. Okay, cool. So I have the hyperwave and the money flow selected as of right now. And then I can change the inputs to the hyperwave if I wanted to. And again, for me, I'm going to go with what we have right here. It's kind of like going off of a simple moving average. The colors are fine. I'm good with that. Everything here is good. I'm going to leave it as is. But what this is showing me kind of more so, right, is opportunities, kind of like, again, like a MACD almost, but it's their version of that. And you'll notice that the hyperwave starts to reverse on here, right, where we have this white to green line at the bottom, and then this green to white. This hyperwave starts to reverse at pretty good spots. So if I were to zoom back in at the top of our screen here in the S&P 500 as of late, let's see how this would have worked. So hyperwave starts to make a move or reversal here, which was where we saw a reversal in the S&P there. Hyperwave reverses here. So this would have been, a small profitable trade, but it would have been netted green. And it's the same kind of idea. And then down here, we had an extension to the downside. We did see the market go lower, although we were to bounce for a period of time, then went lower. And then down here, this recent one, we had that reversal on the hyperwave. and we got a very nice move up. Very, very nice move up. Okay, so at least I want to pull that up and show that. And then the green and reds are money flow. So you're seeing money flow or negative, essentially, money flow. Positive here, but as of late, very nice surge in money flow. And so I think that these could be useful to you if something that you like to look at more of an oscillating indicator versus maybe like stuff on your chart. Some people really find that this is what they would look at as an indicator versus anything on their chart. They just kind of check out what's going on below. And then that's something that I personally have found helpful as well. So reversal up and reversal down, we can have those selected as we wanted to as well. And it will have little indicators or little arrows and dots on the chart. And that's when they're indicating we have a reversal. Bullish overflow, let's pop that up. So that's kind of inside of the money flow, this extra shading. Bearish overflow, you can see the exact same thing. And we see that was a pretty aggressive move to the downside and potentially could indicate a reversal back up. Depends upon how you're looking at things, more contrarian or with the trend. Upper and lower confluence zones, when I click on these, make sure you go back to inputs and have the confluence selected. Confluence meter, if I want to show the confluence meter, which is on the right-hand side, you can kind of see how the arrow is right here on the confluence meter. A lot of good stuff, guys. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff here. I like, personally, if I'm using something like this, I'll go off of the reversal and hyperwave more so to kind of see if that aligns with what I'm thinking or with what I'm looking at in price action wise. And then I can change the sensitivity. So maybe this is something that what I think is really cool about the sensitivity features is that, if you are a swing trader or if you're more of like a semi-active investor, which is kind of how I operate a little bit inside of my investment portfolio. I'll have core holdings, and then I'll from time to time dabble into oversold sectors of the S&P and whatnot. And so what I'll do is then I'll buy into sector ETFs. So I'm not taking on individual stock risk, and I'll have, oversold, or I'll be looking for some sort of oversold bounce or a reversal in that. And then, use that to sell covered calls. And at least I'm getting, it's more of a contrarian investing approach or style. And so you're kind of buying a dip and then you're holding that and selling covered calls. And then eventually you're trimming that as the market eventually bounces back. And that could, again, if you're in a bear market, it could be a long time. But if you're not in a bear market, that tends to be a pretty good way to kind of play around with the contrarian style. But again, that's just, it's not advice. It's just kind of a way that I like to do things personally. Everyone's different. And that's more of like, from the investor side versus a trader. I'm not really taking a trade based off that. I'm more so looking at where are the better oversold opportunities in the market from an investing side. And we talked about some of the indicators, the contrarian plus some of these oscillators that could give me a better timing of, when we're starting to reverse and see money flowing, starting to come back in, etc. So a lot of good stuff there. That right there, guys, is the oscillator matrix. I'm going to we'll leave them up for now. We'll go back to LuxAlgo. So we'll come back here. What do you get on the ultimate? You get all of that stuff. Plus they added 3 back testing system strategy scripts. So if you're someone who wants to back test a strategy on TradingView, you can actually do that. If you were to go to TradingView, down towards the bottom of your screen, it'll come up under strategy tester. And so you can load the strategy, load your own strategy, load different strategies, and have that back tested over time, which is pretty cool. That's a new feature that LuxAlgo has recently released. I think that's for more of an advanced trader or investor, that is big, especially if you're into the details of all that stuff. When we're filming this, you may not see it in time. When this is being filmed, there is a Black Friday sale. They have different sales at times of the years, but right now this is like that one time of the year. So these numbers may not be the same. And these are also annual, numbers. Monthly, there's different numbers as well. But these are the levels. Like we were saying before, like you kind of can see now what we have or what you've got in these different indicators. So if you are someone who really likes what we kind of covered in the premium, well, then maybe that's good for you and you don't really need the backtesting right now. If you like what we had and what there was in price action concepts, and we talked about that one, I mean, Essential's fine. Like that's great. That's more than enough. And then of course, there's a 30-day money back guarantee. And you don't have to pay in, you can pay monthly. For things like this, I'll tend to pay the annual because you save more money. If you can afford it, and it may even be a write-off depending upon, you know, your tax situation. So something to speak with an accountant on, but it's a tool, right? This is a tool for your trading or for your investing. So it could be a cool way to reduce a tax burden potentially for some. So that is a beginner's guide to LuxAlgo. Leave any questions, comments you have down below. But we got, you know, a good feel for some indicators. To talk about some of the ones I like, talk about other ones that maybe I don't like, but I also will pop them up and show you guys how this works. So pretty straightforward and seamless, the connection to TradingView. And then it's really up to you to customize them and mess around. I mean, I could sit here all weekend, you know what I mean, and just mess around with indicators and just until I can craft and find something that I like. And I've kind of found that myself as of late, but we kind of showed you kind of from the basics and the ground up. So hopefully that was helpful. I'll leave a link to this down below if you want to check them out. It is an affiliate link, so it does support the channel. But you know, you don't have to buy. You don't have to buy in this stuff. You don't need to. If you find value in it, do it. If you don't, then don't. That's what it comes down to, and that's what trading really at the end of the day it's all about. It's figuring out, you know, what works for you, not what works for somebody else, because it's not going to always work for you. Thanks so much, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.